She thanked me so much. I didn't even believe it at first, how grateful she was, how much she actually needed this. And a few days after this happened, I still had the feeling that I've done something very, very, very good, deep, intimate for her, something that she would maybe never forget. And I'll share with you exactly what it was in a moment here. Before that, this video again probably mostly is for men in midlife, after divorce, men looking, or maybe not looking anymore, because I know many men gave up and kind of excuses themselves out of the love game or sex game or whatever. And I wouldn't say it's a game, it's just about living, getting back to life. I shared in some of my videos my own story about my divorce, about my relationship after divorce, my biggest mistake jumping into a new relationship, and how I was nearly destroyed after that. I also shared that I spent some time just finding myself after that, which I do recommend to any man coming out of a relationship, or any person at all. Actually take some time and just find out, who am I? It's a great question, who am I? And another question, what do I need to let go of? After years in a partnership, after years in a relationship, where maybe if you're in midlife, a man, you've got grown-up kids, you've got the same house. I even heard of some men having the same business, and even though they didn't enjoy the relationship anymore, they were so much stuck with all the complicated things that they had together. So even though it was draining, even though it was like, probably for both of them, but I spoke with the men, even though it was like they wake up every day and they look at each other, and the man thinks, what am I doing here? But at the same time, too complicated. I can't get out of this. House, cars, boats, businesses. So one question that I just got stuck there, one question that that I asked in another video was, okay, is it worth it? So there's two sides of this question. The first thing, is it worth it to stop the relationship, to stop the marriage, to move on? Is it worth it? But on the other side of this, another great question is it worth it to not do it? Because I understand that breaking out of relationship might be complicated, might be difficult. Sometimes the might is something that we have in our head, between our ears, a thought, and that's an excuse because we're going out of the comfort zone with this. So it might be all of this, and it might be for 1 month or 3 months or 6 months or 12 months. But really listen to what I'm saying here, because even though if it's 12 months of figuring all of this out and breaking up and finding yourself and all of these things, you still got the rest of your life. So what if those 12 months were like the foundation for something much better, where you could really live, where you can really thrive and experience whatever it is, maybe an adventure that you've been looking for. Make sense? So coming back to the thing, that's where I am right now. I am just like figuring it all out, experimenting with life, experimenting. One of those things is, I promised myself, I'm in midlife, I'm 52 right now, I'm mostly speaking to men in the same age. I promised myself that I would not stop living. I would actually begin living in a whole new way. Grounded foundation, but also like an adventure. Also like experimenting in life with many things. Figuring out what do I like, what don't I like, what do I enjoy, what's not bringing me joy. Like a kid. Just like, okay, I want to play over there, go and play. Okay, now I don't want to play anymore. Okay, stop playing and do something else. And some people say that, well, that's irresponsible. And I'll say, okay, maybe that makes sense, but isn't it irresponsible not to enjoy the rest of our life? Question, right? So that's where I am right now. And I'm just sharing from my many years of as a coach and a mentor doing businesses, but also the fact that I went through all of this a couple of years ago, and I am figuring out all of this called life on a whole new level, in a whole new way. So coming back, I hope all of this makes sense. Just want to give you the picture. Coming back to the things she was so grateful for. So in my experimenting here, I'm figuring out, okay, is it too late to begin to meet with women? And I admit my mind was going after the two breakups, was going like, okay, no more fun for me, no more joy for me. It's over. I felt like that. I maybe even looked like that. And as I began sharing these things, and also as I found myself again, I'm more like, hell no, I'm gonna have fun and I'm gonna enjoy it and I'm gonna experiment. And I do want to find out and figure out how is it possible to enjoy women again, and maybe in a whole new way, on a whole new level, because I got rid of a lot of things. So on that journey, I started speaking to women. I also made videos about this, and I've had some very interesting insights, and I have had some very interesting, what do you call that? What's the name of this? Interesting moments with women. But one thing I realized, and this is what I want to share also in this video, is that what most men do not do, and when we get up in age, it's gonna get even more difficult, because many men will experience the same thing going on in their mind as I have had in my mind, that I'm too old for this, or I haven't taken care of myself, or whatever it is. And I speak about approaching and talking to women, strangers, instead of being on the phone, on the computer, online, trying to figure it all out there and looking at those gorgeous models. Go out and speak with people in real life. And the thing is, what I found out was that this is really out of the comfort zone. This is really something where fear kicks in. And that fear shows up probably as excuses. I'm too old. She's in a hurry. She don't want to speak with anyone. She's too good looking. No, she has her legs are too big, or her smile is ugly, or whatever. Every damn excuses. And under those is the fear, and the fear in approaching is often the rejection, or somebody, maybe we speak to some nice lady or woman or whatever you call it, and the fear might be, well, what if she says I'm ugly, or what if she says I'm an old whatever. So what I found out is that that's just something going on inside of us, but it's not reality. It's just our own limiting beliefs. So I started doing this myself. I started speaking, I started approaching, And I realized, obviously, there's a lot of ways of doing this. I realized, first of all, for me, it's been very much about being very authentic. So it's not about coming up with some strange or stupid or whatever things that's not me. It's about being very authentic. But I realized that in 19 out of 20, even though they were younger women, when I've come up and spoken to them and compliment them, because that's why I speak to them, they come back with a thank you. And what I realized before I show you or share with you the big thing where she was really grateful, what I realized is that some of them even said this to me. They said, you know what? Thank you so much. Not many men are doing what you're doing, and I really respect that. And it might be that's something that I reflected on. It might be that and especially in this online world we live in now, that we expect, and women, it's a fact. I heard this from a friend telling me something in the radio from an expert of Tinder, that we got ladies, they go like, excuse me, I'll take it in another way. Guys on Tinder, 90%, yes, 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 yes. Women on Tinder, 90%, no, 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 no. That's reality. And now, it might be the percentage is a little less or more than I just shared, but that's not that important. The important thing is that the women, they get a lot of attention. You agree with me on this one, right? It's easy for them to get the attention, but it's not easy for them to get the attention where they really feel it's authentic. And because they know all of this, the men, they don't get the attention. So and also we have some hunter and all of this in our history and in our genes and our whole being. So it's out. That's what we want. But right now in society, it's like we can't do that. It's not good enough and all of that. But what if I just saw some Viking series on Netflix in my holiday here, and it was raining, so I started watching this. First time in my life watching a Netflix series about Vikings. And maybe you know these stories also about Vikings, that they just took the woman and all of that. And I don't know if that is right or wrong, but the thing is, what I learned is that women, they want this. Not necessarily something very bad going on, but they want a man who have the guts, who dare to approach and speak with them. And if there is a connection, the man to be bold enough to take it further. So the big thing, the thing is, for this video, the topic, I went a little left and right here, but the topic was and is that she was very grateful. A lot of the women that I approached and spoken with has been grateful. So there was one, just like a week ago, one woman especially, and I saw her. I was on holiday with my daughter. I saw her, and I got the ways that she carries herself and the things she has with me. It got me very curious, and I thought she was very attractive. And there was like 5 guys watching her, just with their eyes, watching her. And probably from looking at the eyes, they had a lot of things going on in their mind. And I started speaking to her. And the funny thing happened, that she came over to me and we started speaking. Now I listened to her and we connected. Very powerful words here. We connected, not like something that I had to do or that I read in a book to do. I really listened and connected, and I was very curious about her story, and I found it very interesting. And I shared from my own story, what I learned from her, my experience with the things that she was sharing. Now, this went on, and at a point she asked me, "Aren't you supposed to go back to your daughter?" My daughter was reading we were on camping, reading in the tent, so I was not like afraid of her. We were on holiday, so I knew that she could take care of herself. And I said, "Yeah, I'll have to go soon." I thought that we've been speaking for 10 minutes. She said, "You know what? We've spoken for, I think it was 2.5 hours." And I was like, wow. This experience for me was like, wow. I really felt the connection. I was curious about her. I was inspired by her because I listened to her. And here it comes. I told this to her. I said, "You know what? I thought it was 10 minutes. I've really enjoyed speaking with you. I really enjoyed listening to you, and thank you for sharing all of this." And I meant it. And I just shared how I felt. I had a lot of warmth inside, and I shared that with her. And here it comes. She said, "You know what, Michael? Same thing. I've enjoyed this so much." And she said, "Michael, thank you so much." I said, "Because of what?" And she said, "Because you approached me." And I didn't really understand. And she said, "You know what? Those 2.5 hours, we just had an experience. And in those 2.5 hours, I've probably been listened to more than I have ever been in my whole life. Nobody understands my story, but you listened to me and you connected with me, and I just feel it. My day is really, really, really good right now," she said. She had to go, I had to go. So what happened was that we gave each other a big and long hug. And once again, she said, "Thank you so much for approaching me and just being there with me. This was special." And I felt that too. So I just wanted to share this with you guys, and I also wanted to maybe inspire you, because one friend of me, a man, he's around 30. There's a lot of difference, and we spoke about this. In around 30, it's the same thing, right? He also wants women, or he just came out of a relationship, but guys in his age are interested in women too. We all are, right? So the thing is, he shared one thing with me, saying like, well, we all imagine that she's just coming, something like this. Maybe I'm using other words, but that she's just there and you're just there, and the spotlight goes on and she looks with you with her big eyes and big lips, and she just say, "Take me away." That's the imagination, right? But the thing is, coming back to the Vikings, come back to all that I've spoken about here, that the adventures, like when she says, "Michael, thank you so much," and those 2.5 hours, which really meant a lot to both of us, they only happened because I was not waiting for the spotlight. I was not waiting for this gorgeous woman to walk over to me and say, "Hey, could you please just be the love of my life," or something like that. I was not waiting. I saw her and I felt inspired. And like I started with, I wanted to live my life and experiment. So I just approached her. 2.5 hours, 20 minutes video, and a very, 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 very great experience. So let me know in the comments, what experience are you looking for? All right?